In today's video, I'm going to show you how to pick open a cabinet lock like this one using some very simple tools. These type of locks are found on furniture, so bureaus, dressers, drawers, that sort of thing. They're not high security and they are quite a simple mechanism. If we look on the end, there's a little bit of writing there stamped in. It says secure to lever, and that gives you a little bit of a clue as to what's inside. But I think what we'll do is if I open this up, I can quickly explain how a lever lock works. And then you can better understand what you're feeling for when it comes to manipulating and picking this lock open. With the cover removed, you can see there are only 3 moving parts to this lock. We've got 2 levers at the front and then we've got a bolt down the back. So if I take the levers off, we can see that the bolt now slides freely to lock and unlock the lock. If I take one of these levers and put it back on, you can see now that bolt doesn't slide, and the reason it doesn't slide is because this stump here, which is a part of the bolt, is being prevented by moving by this little part of the lever. And in order to get it moving again, I've got to lift up that lever so that this gap here lines up with the stump. So if I lift it up and then push on the bolt, you can see that the bolt will move freely. If I get the second lever, you can see the gap between the 2 levers is slightly different. That's because the levers need to be lifted up to 2 different heights in order to operate the lock. So if I take the key and operate, you'll see the levers get lifted up by the key. They get lifted up to different heights, and when that gap lines up with the stump in the bolt, the key is able to pick up the bolt and slide it all the way through. So in order to pick this lock, we need a tool to lift up the levers, and we also need a tool to put pressure on that bolt to slide back and forth to open it or to lock it. The tools you'll need to pick the lock are really quite simple. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using 1.2mm picking wire, and I've just put a 1cm return in the end of it. These ones have got handles on the end of them. That's made from an old washer. It's just something to give you a little bit of leverage. You could equally do that by just putting a return in the other end of the wire, and that gives you the ability to twist it back and forth. Now you could make it out of music wire. You could equally make it out of an old bicycle spoke. You could perhaps use the spring from a clothes peg if you straightened it out, or indeed you could probably use a bobby pin or hair grip. I've got the lock secured in the vise, and hopefully that should give you a better view of what I'm doing. I'm going to put it in the locked position, and I'm going to reach in with my first picking wire. Now this picking wire is going to go all the way to the back of the lock, and what I'm trying to do is feel for a V-shaped notch in the bolt. I'll show that on the screen there. If I can get my picking wire into that V-shaped notch and rotate it like this, I should be able to move that bolt, or at least put pressure on it. Left and right. So it's currently in the locked position, so I need to get my pick wire into that V and rotate it like that towards the right. While I'm doing that, I'm going to reach in with my second pick wire and I'm going to bounce up on the levers. Hopefully you can see the levers bouncing in that little window. Now you won't have the luxury of that little window if you were picking this lock in situ. You might just need to feel around in the keyway to feel exactly where those levers are. But if you feel spring resistance, that tells you that you are on the levers. Okay, I've got my tool now in that V-shaped notch in the bolt. I'll take my second tool in and just bounce these levers up. And hopefully if I maintain the pressure on that bolt, the levers should stay up enough for the bolt to start sliding over. And there we go. We've got this lock open. Now, if you need to pick the lock closed, all we need to do is the reverse of that. So I reach in with this tool, pick up that notch again. I have to put my pick wire in a slightly different location. I'm now putting anti-clockwise rotation on this. So I'm pushing the bolt towards the left. And then I reach in once again with my picking wire and just try and bounce those levers up. And there we go, we've got the lock locked. I hope you found this video helpful if you have lost the key to your cabinet lock. It goes to show that simple locks like this one can be picked open using simple tools, and just a little knowledge. If you did find it useful, hit the like button because that helps YouTube to recommend it to other folks who would also find it useful. And if you're interested in lock picking, do consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for picking with me today, and I will see you on the next one.